In the first of a special three-part series, our reporter David Whitbourne looks at getting in and getting on.
Not many jobs offer you danger, excitement, and the chance to help people in trouble.
Come on, up. Bend your knees slightly. Come on, dig out.
It takes 2 years to become a fully qualified firefighter, and in Devon, the process starts here.
I would hope we've got a high reputation, which we strive to maintain, and we believe we've got it just about right.
The fire station in Plympton runs a 12-week course that's designed to equip their men, and in this case, one woman, with the basics. But the real work's done in uniform.
All right, listen in then. Basic ladder drills we're going to be doing start off. We'll split up into groups, keep away from the other groups that are over there. At the training school, it's very hectic. You can see by today's efforts that it's one subject after the other, and you've got to keep tight control over them to ensure they don't put themselves into any danger. But in the 14, 50 years that I've been in, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's called the Devon Fire and Rescue Service, and the fire part came next. How would you feel if you came round the corner to find this?
Obviously, a lot of adrenaline, your heart's running, but you've got to take, I mean, you need your adrenaline anyway to sort of get you through it, but you don't want it to let it take you over either, so just sort of get on with it, what they've trained us to do. This is exhilarating, best job out.
But the training doesn't stop there. Behind me, smoke is intense. The flames are burning the side of my face. It's about 800 or 900 degrees Celsius in there. In other words, a typical house fire. This is how the brigade tackles it.
Okay. Ears are our heat sensors, okay? You know, if you should never be stood up in that sort of heat anyway, as you can appreciate from being there. You're sort of down at knee level. If the heat is still too hot for your ears, you should be down on your belly. If it's still too hot, you should be outside, okay? You shouldn't actually be in there because you'll be overcome with heat exhaustion, and before you know it, you'll have passed out, okay? And you're actually adding then to the casualties which other guys have got to go in and rescue. So we still like to keep our ears free for sensing the heat. Okay? Well done.
Oh. Good God. I have never, ever felt heat like that before. Martine Moore is the first woman to go through the course. She's just done a degree at London University and decided to try the male-dominated world of firefighting, where she says she's been treated well.
Equal, absolutely. Sleep in the same dormitories as men, wear the same uniform, do exactly the same things.
Did you get your leg pulled at all?
Yeah. Yep.
And, is that all right?
They do it to each other, it's all part of the teamwork.
Stand by the slip.
So far, it's been brilliant. You really feel like you're pulling together. All the lads have been really supportive, and we're just getting through it together.
What about the danger side of it? Do you think of that?
No, not really. I think of, you know, it's hot in there, but I don't really click that it's danger. I mean, I'm more frightened of being shouted at by the instructors than being burnt. When I go to a real incident, I don't know what I'm going to feel like. At the moment, you know that there's a safety officer there and you're going to be okay.
There's a place for all types of person, whether they're male, female, whatever race they come from, whatever cultures they come from. There will always be some part in the service for that individual.
Any opposition within the service to that?
I think there are people with views that may be classed as opposition. Thankfully, those are far and few between. We see it firsthand here. We know what people can do. Every recruit, it goes through a very rigorous selection process, and we only select people that will make it. And those people that get to this course and pass out will make it within the service.
The passing out parade, when it came, was a proud day for the recruits, their family, and the instructors. Martine did make it, and she and all the others on the training course have now been posted to fire stations around Devon. 12 weeks of hard slog were behind them, but the real work starts now. This is David Whitbourne for West Country Live.
And tomorrow David goes out on call with one.
Again, welcome back to West Country Live. Are you having...
I was born of the wind, and I don't...
Women of the Devon Fire and Rescue Service. Today in London, pay talks between the fire unions and the government broke down, leaving strike action a possibility for the first time in more than 15 years. Tonight, we look behind the scenes at one of Devon's busiest fire stations, Camel's Head in Plymouth, for a flavour of what life in the service is really like. David Whitbourne reports.
However busy a shift may get for the 64 full-time firefighters at Camel's Head, the day only ever starts one way, with checks, checks, and more checks.
The most regular thing is the checking of equipment, standard testing of equipment, ensuring that it is ready to be used, because it can be used at any time, day and night. The regular training pays off when the job arrives, because the men slot in to do the job without, in a sense, being given direct orders. They know what to do when the incident arrives.
In this case, Greenwatch has been called to a junior school in Plymouth, where smoke has been reported by the side of one of the buildings. In the summer months, a fire engine often has to fight its way through heavy traffic, never completely sure how urgent the call-out really is. In this case, it turns out not to be.
Well, what they've got is a tar boiler that's overheated, self-ignited. They've arrived, they're cooling it down. They'll leave the lid on until they're sure the fire's out, then they'll take the lid off and have a look. They'll keep the hoses on until such time as they're happy.
A large number of call-outs are thankfully non-urgent, but necessary nonetheless. This one was put down to the heat of the day, or perhaps a box of matches in careless hands. On the way back, a pit stop for the firefighters' most necessary fuel.
We shouldn't drive around with an empty tank or less than maximum. So if we use a lot of water on a job, then we'll fill up before we go home. Because I mean, from here back to the station, we may pick up another job. We'll go on to that, and we won't have any water to fight it.
Back at the station, there's a time for exercise and a time to eat. And as evening turns into night, it's White Watch's turn to wait for the call. It's now just gone 1 o'clock in the morning, and so far things have been fairly quiet. So the men here at Camel's Head are taking the chance to check their kit, or perhaps have a chat, share a joke with the other men on the watch.
The routine that I usually keep to when I come into work keeps me going till this late, and then I'll sort of sit down for an hour and relax before I go to bed and trying to wind down and switch off. And then so you go to bed and you never know when you're going to be moving again. You know, you could be getting up in 5 minutes. So that's always playing on your mind. And then gradually it switches off. I never really sleep soundly when I'm in work. You never feel like in the morning when you wake up that you've had a good night's kit.
You never do that.
You're proud of what you do now?
Yeah, I'm very proud of being a fireman. I love it. I won't change it. I won't change my job for the world. It's good when we have our social evenings as well. Like, we do try to organise them occasionally to get together with the wives as well. You do tend to know them.
When the unexpected happens, it usually takes the men at Camel's Head just 30 seconds to get on their way. This time, it's to a house fire in the North Prospect area of the city. There's a report of people being trapped with the ground floor on fire. This time, the sitting room took the brunt of the damage, with a smouldering cigarette being blamed. Checks are made to ensure that the fire is properly out and that everyone's safe. But from outside come reports that there are others still to be rescued. That made it one safe and one to go. And when the last straggler was brought out, it left White Watch free to go home and wait for the next call. This is David Whitbourne for West Country Live.
You'll be glad to know that those kittens were fine.
What was it? One of them's...
No one was in fire and rescue service. Tonight we look to the future. We've been allowed access to one of Devon's busiest fire stations at Camel's Head in Plymouth, where the men and equipment are meeting the challenge of the 1990s and beyond. David Whitbourne reports.
In the early stages of firefighting, where the stairs didn't reach, the firemen didn't go. Now, things are different. Millions of pounds have been spent making today's fire service as up-to-date as possible. Modern equipment now helps save lives where before people would have died. But the greatest asset the Devon service has is still its personnel. Camel's Head has started a specialist ship firefighting team. Behind the station is a mock frigate. This, they have to imagine, is in the middle of Plymouth Sound, burning fiercely with sailors on board. The men have to develop the expertise to get into the ship, find their way around, put out the fire and get out any people inside.
Yeah, just come back a bit there.
Casualties can't be properly treated on a burning ship, so stretcher training is part of the exercise. These are exciting times for Camel's Head. It's just been given responsibility for 2 specialist units. As well as the ship firefighters you've just seen in action, a second specialist unit is currently in action about 60 feet above me. The rope rescue team doesn't become active until November. Currently, it's putting the finishing touches to its training. When it starts, it will be unique within the Devon service.
Personally, I believe that if we were going to call ourselves a rescue service, then we should be taking on this sort of thing. We've also got the Tamar Bridge within our area. We've got Devonport Dockyard with all its cranes, with its mast structures as well. We've got high-rise buildings, flats, holiday accommodation of high-rise. We've got all this sort of stuff, all within our area and even more outside of the Plymouth area.
So, with the ship firefighting team and the rope rescue team, Camel's Head is looking to the future. But progress does bring changes.
Some of the guys I know would love to stay here. And I know there's people that were, in a sense, turning down promotion, really, because they want to stay here. But I'm certain that happens on other fire stations. Unfortunately, you cannot promote every man and keep him on the station. It's to his advantage to go to another station or to another part of the county, because he needs to expand to see that the fire brigade or the fire service within Devon is larger than Camel's Head. It has to be, because the man grows, doesn't he, with his experience. So, and at the same time, because he goes on, then somebody replaces him, and the system grows because of that. It's a living thing in a sense, isn't it?
I like being a firefighter, I like being a fireman, I like being part of a watch. But later on in life, I'd like to go a bit further in the job, just to see what happens. I don't think it would ruin my enthusiasm for the job if I was a fireman all my life, because you're at the sharp end being a fireman. You're always ready to go at a moment's notice. The adrenaline is always like ready to go, and so you've got that sort of like there is an excitement in the job, which I don't think you can get from many other types of jobs.
Camel's Head is just one station within Devon, all of which are aiming to be there when we need them most. This is David Whitbourne for West Country Live.